Welcome to the Book of Balance podcast, where real stories meet real numbers. I'm your host, Patricia, your bookkeeper and believer that business should serve your life, not consume it. Each week, we sit down with entrepreneurs who've built their dreams from scratch and learned to balance their books, their boundaries, and their energy along the way. Ready to turn the page on financial stress and write your own story of clarity? Let's dive in. My name is Patricia and I am the host of the Book of Balance podcast. And today I have Laura Burgess, who owns a hair salon, correct?
Yes.
And if you could please introduce yourself, tell us more about you and how you decided to become a business owner and what your professional or business life has been and what have been some of your ups and downs in your business and what are you thinking you want to do in the future as a business owner?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. It's so good to see you. So I'm Laura Burgess, and I am a hairstylist in Murrieta, California. I am a single mom of two teenage daughters, 13 and 16. And I have been a hairstylist since February of 2004. So I am entering my 21st year, or I just entered my 21st year of doing hair. And in the beginning, it was very much just like a side gig, if you will. I wasn't really building a clientele. I was doing friends and family. But after my separation from my girl's dad, I went in full force, 2 feet in, the whole bit. And I was able to build a decent clientele that has allowed me to support myself, support my girls, pay for very expensive extracurricular activities that are not cheap here in California. And I've had a really good run as a hairstylist, and I've worked in salons, I've worked in suites, and then during COVID, I had a shed built in my home, and so, or outside of my home, but on my property. And so basically, I work by myself. My clients love it. I'm a low-key, very easygoing hairstylist, which is how I am in my personal life as well. And so my clients will show up in pajamas, they'll bring their dogs. I don't double book, so I really focus completely on my clients, and I think they really love that. So it's been a really good run. I'm really happy and thankful for all the business that I've had in the last 20 years, especially in the last, I would say, 12-ish years. And then now I'm entering a new stage. I'm learning something new, which is how to do extensions. And I bit off a little more than I can chew in this situation because I've never done extensions before. And I was like, what's the mecca of extensions? And that's what I signed up for. So it's been kicking my butt a little bit, but it'll be very rewarding when I finish this class that I have 2 weeks left. So,
oh, wow.
And then hopefully that'll just increase my revenue a little bit and allow me to continue supporting my family and doing great things and just living a day at a time over here.
So you shared with us that you started in first you worked in hair salons, you said, for other people before you. So
Yeah.
can you tell us more about the progression? What made you decide instead of working for someone else's hair salon that made you decide this is why I want to have my own space and my own house and etc.
Yeah. So basically, when you work at a salon, and it's different in every state. So I started in, let's see, Cali was about a year old. So that would have been 2010 as an assistant for a hairstylist here in Murrieta, a very successful hairstylist and with a solid clientele. And she was double booked a lot. So I assisted her and one other girl at the salon. And I did that for about 6 months before I ventured out on my own. And then I became a commission stylist and an assistant. And the way that commission stylists are paid here in California, and I'm not sure that it's still this way because there's been some laws that have changed, but it was you would make minimum wage or commission. And so if you had enough commission that it surpassed what you made in minimum wage in your hours worked, then you would get paid that commission. So for easiness of numbers, if I made $400 an hour in hours, but I made $500 in commissions, I'd get the $500. And so I did that for about another 6 months. And then I ventured on into booth rental. And I've always wanted to be, my dream was always to own a salon and have stylists and have employees and all of that. And as I entered the salon world, I quickly realized I do not want to own a salon. I'm still open to the idea of owning a salon and having booth renters. And it's like letting them do their own business, letting them sell their own products. So like a suite, but in a salon setting. Like,
Uh-huh.
this is your area, this is your, giving them more space than you have at a regular salon, but still run your own business without me have to help you with your bookings and help you with complaints and help you with inventory.
Just they rent the space period.
Correct. Without having it be a suite though, because that involves a whole other list of things that you're responsible for that I don't have the time nor the patience, nor do I want to put that on my plate. Again, very low key, very easy. So I rented from her for a couple of years, and then I moved to a different salon, also as a booth rental. And then that's when the suites started to become popular. So Phoenix Suites was one of the first ones that came out, if not the first one. And I was like, that's a great happy medium of owning my own salon, having my own inventory, and working for myself, but also having a space that's my own. I can decorate it how I like. I can carry the products that I want. And when you carry your own inventory, that's 100% profit for you instead of getting a commission of the profit, right? So anytime you work for somebody, they're making money off of you. Not all, whether you're working at McDonald's making a burger, or whether you're doing something that you went to school for and you're blow drying and cutting, and somebody's getting a cut of that. So the suite life was really great. I did that for a long time. I want to say from, well, a long time till COVID. So I think April of 2017 is when I had my first shop opened. And then July of 2020 is when I started building this. And I've been here on my own since then. So it's still essentially a suite. I just don't pay anybody rent. It's in my
Right.
own place.
Right. Well, that's very smart. So I wanted to ask you because something I've learned by interviewing other business owners is when they go into the business world, we tend to go with all these ideas of what we want to do. And halfway through, we realize, I don't want to do this. So I'm
Mhm.
curious, were you, when you started and you went through school and you knew you wanted to work with hair, did you think you always wanted to own one, but then after you're working in one, did you realize this is not really what I want to do? Did that happen to you? I'm just curious.
Doing hair in general or owning?
In a salon, once you started working in
Oh,
one,
definitely.
did your goals
Definitely.
change?
Yes, so definitely. So originally I was like, I want to have a salon, I want to own multiple salons, all of that. But, and here's the thing, I love people. I'm very much a people person, which is why it works for me to be a hairstylist. But so I saw my ex-husband own a company. He owns a solar company, and he blew up within a year of starting this company, and he almost grew too fast, which that's a whole other podcast. That being said, I tried to warn you. Anyways, but he had employees stealing from him, taking things, using his trucks when they weren't supposed to, using credit cards when they for their own personal. There was the day that I delivered my younger daughter, this guy stole $100 from the cash drawer, from the petty cash, and I was like, I'm about to deliver a child, and my husband is dealing with an honorary employee. So there's definitely things that I've seen with other business owners myself that made me go, oh, I never want people to work for me. I don't want to be in charge of somebody else's livelihood, because essentially if you don't have, for example, if they work for me as a commission stylist and I don't have the clientele to give them, but I still have to pay them hourly, that's taking away from me versus they
Right.
themselves doing it. So it's just a lot of responsibility, and a lot of, in California in particular, responsibility, and what's the word I'm looking for? Risk. It's a very high risk thing to have employees. People here are so sue happy. Let them trip over a stair, let them cut their finger off. I've lost almost multiple fingers being a hairstylist, but that's just a risk of the job. And I just don't need someone to be like, oh, I slipped and cut my finger, you owe me $50,000. So it's just, for me, I much prefer being on my own and just taking care of me and mine. And that's it.
So it sounds like you were looking for work-life balance more than having that corporate success story,
100%.
which you
100%.
have 7 salons under your name, and you have now your name is throughout the area, sort of thing.
So here's the thing about being a business owner, and I know that every business owner can relate. It takes money to make money. If I have a client and she wants to be a redhead and I don't have any red color, I've got to go and spend $20 in color, have her come in, do her hair for $70, maybe get tipped 20, but I had to spend 20 to make the 70. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if I don't get tipped, then I just made 50. So it just kind of works like that. It takes money to make this money. And so I just, it's not that I'm not a go-getter, because I'm obviously, I've done
Well,
all this.
I've known Laura for many years. I can tell you if there's anything She's definitely a go-getter. I think it's just more about what's important to you, and that's what you go for.
100%. That is very true. Is that money? Personally, I hate money. I hate owing money. I hate being owed money. I hate needing money. I hate money. But we need it. We need it to
Right.
survive. We need it to pay bills. We need it to live. I love to travel. I need money to travel. So come get your hair done. But at the same time, I'm not driven by the money. I am more driven by the personal connections that I have made. Earlier, before we started, I had a friend over here and she's a client of mine. And her father just passed away and she's dealing with a lot of emotion and sadness. And I was like, come over, let's have a coffee and hang out. And she just, I have this gift, and I'm not saying it to be like I'm so great, but I have this gift that I help people feel better. And it's whether I do their hair or whether we share a cup of coffee or whether I just give you a hug. And I'm so much more about that personal connection than I am about the money. I still need the money, but it's not what drives me. It
Right.
never
It's,
has
it's,
been.
it's an even exchange, right? You provide a service, you get paid
Mhm.
for, but in return, it's all about this social engagement. And
I have made some of the dearest friends through my business. I really have. And even through networking, I really have.
I can see
Yeah.
that. And you have the personality to definitely engage with people and talk to people. And
Yeah.
so I think when you work in a field, I'm a bookkeeper, so I could be the most boring person ever. And who cares because I'm just doing spreadsheets all day. No one needs to see me or talk to me. And honestly, my clients don't really want to talk to me. They just want to see the spreadsheets. So,
Right.
and this is one of the reasons why I have a podcast because I miss that social engagement and interaction. And so
Mhm.
this is an outlet that I have created for myself because I love the social piece. But you have chosen a career that has allowed you to not only be successful with your social skills, but you have been able to zoom them in even further as you continue to help clients and people in general, for what I'm gathering. Because it sounds like you are
Yeah.
very empathetic and compassionate. I feel like you probably can pick up on nuances that people don't pick up when they're
100%.
sharing.
A hundred percent. It's really funny because there's this thing where people are like, "Oh, my therapist, my hairstylist is like my therapist."
Yeah,
Oprah said,
that's a big joke, but it's true.
it's so true. Well, Oprah said once, and this was a long time ago, I go to my therapist and then I go to my hairstylist and I tell my hairstylist what my therapist said. And if my hairstylist agrees, then I go with that. If she doesn't, then I don't agree. And it's so true because listen, I'm definitely better at giving advice than I am at following my own advice for
We
the same reason.
all aren't
I
we?
don't practice what I preach. I'm trying, but I really don't. But I will say I have it is a mutual giving and receiving that I have with my clients. I've definitely helped a lot of my clients go through a lot of things. And then there's times like I have a client right now that she and I are going through a very similar situation and we've bonded over that. And so it's definitely been, there's definitely some therapy that goes into this. And I naturally have that because of who I am and the empathy that I have in myself. But it's also just years and years of talking to people and learning about people and understanding things that people go to college for 6 years and they learn it from a book. And I've learned it from life experiences.
And
And so I've been able to share that with people.
there's something that you just mentioned that made me really think about something that we talk about in a very different perspective, but it's exactly the same thing. When you are building any kind of business, they keep telling you the importance of engaging with your client and maintaining a relationship to be able to continue to grow. If you're in sales, having a relationship with people is key
The
because
report.
the rapport, exactly. So if you think about it as a hairstylist, why have you been so successful is because you have been able to keep that rapport. But why I
Mhm.
want to bring it up is it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. Rapport is key. And even
Mhm.
especially for businesses like mine that I don't see clients every day, we forget the importance of rapport. If you're not present, people are not going to remember that you're available to do something for them. This is why the only way I can do rapport sometimes is through social media. But if I don't stay presently active there when they need me,
Yeah,
they're not going to think of me because they don't see me all the time. But
right.
once you initiate that relationship, if you're able to nurture it, then you have a client for life, right? Basically.
100%.
So
Yeah.
this is
And
why it's so
I
important for people to realize that if you provide the right networking and support system, your clients will stay with you for a long period of time.
Oh, 100%. And I will say clients are very loyal to their nail person, their hair person, their massage person, because there is a certain level of intimacy that you build and bond and all of that throughout the years, especially. That's not to say that I haven't lost clients. I've definitely lost clients throughout the year. Actually, earlier this year, just this past summer, I messaged a client who's a friend of mine, and I met her through doing her hair. And I've been doing her hair for easily 8 years. And I was like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. And everything okay? And then she's like, oh, it's like, actually, I went to the salon a few months ago. And I was like, oh, no problem. Hope all is well and everything's okay. I still see her daughter on social media, whose hair I also did, and her son, whose hair I also did. I'm not sure what happened. I think I tend to share a lot on my social media and even obviously in my personal space with them. And I think something that I was going through this year may have triggered her a little bit because she had a very similar situation in her past. And so that's the only thing that I can think of that made her leave. But then I've also had clients who stopped coming to me for a while during COVID, for example, and then they came back a couple of years later and they were like, listen, I just want you to know, I've always loved how you've done my hair. I've always enjoyed our interaction. During that time, we didn't have the same views. And so it was very hard for me to come and listen when all the world was talking about the same thing and have to listen to it while I'm getting my hair done on top of that. And I said to her, I said, please tell me to shut up in the future. I have no problem not talking about anything. We can talk about the trees and the sky and the sun. And so in her case, she just wasn't comfortable telling me that she didn't want to talk about that, but she came back and she's been back for this whole year and it's great. I am a little bit more conscientious of what I talk about when I'm with her because I don't want to make her uncomfortable. You know, this is supposed to be a safe space. This is supposed to be a relaxation space. And I told her, I said, honey, I totally relate and I can understand and I appreciate you telling me because the last thing I wanted to do when I turned on the TV in 2020 till 2021 or almost 2022 was hear about what was going on in the world. No. I'm here to escape. Give me a fairy tale. Give me comedy. Don't give me real life scenarios. So I definitely have lost people throughout the years, but I've also,
But I think
they've
it's
come
also
back.
natural. But the idea is that you have a core solid number of clients. Like
100%.
actually the 80% stays with you, and then you have a 20% that is coming in and out.
And people, all of that stuff and pass away. I've definitely had people that have passed away. And it's a real thing. I had a good friend of mine a couple of weeks ago that she passed away from cancer. She was in her 80s, lived a great life, but that it's the reality of life. It's things change and all of that, which is why as a hairstylist or as a business owner in general, you've got to constantly stay up with the times
So tell me, how are you handling, because everything keeps changing. So how are you as a business owner trying to do transitions and change, and what are your plans for the future?
Well, it's really funny because the biggest thing right now for everybody is social media. And it's been like that for about, I would say 15-ish years. But definitely in the last 5 to 10, it's exploded. And so, everybody has, when TikTok came out, it was like Instagram came out with reels and YouTube came out with shorts and this and that. And it's just like, I cannot keep up with that. There's not enough bandwidth in my brain to handle all the different things. And I actually laugh at myself because I'm so late to the game with everything. Facebook is working for me. It's fine. And then now I'm like Instagram and I'm like, Instagram's working for me. It's fine. And now I'm finally venturing into TikTok and I'm sure they're coming out with something else that I don't know. Oh God, another one. So there's a couple of hairstylists that have launched products and things like that that help hairstylists kind of stay in touch. But there's a very true video that has gone around where it's like hairstylists are no longer just hairstylists. We are bookkeepers and social media people and camera and angles and photographers. And it's just so much that we have to do to stay relevant in the business. Not to mention, there used to be fashion, for example, 4 seasons: fall, spring, summer, fall, winter. And now it's like every other week there's something going on. I had a client of mine just this week come and she's like, well, I want to go a little darker for fall. And I'm like, honey, people don't do that anymore. You could go dark this week and light next week and it doesn't matter. There's just we live in a world of that instant gratification. And it's not just with personal relationships. It's not just with, I want to buy this car now or I want to buy this house. It's literally everything. I see a picture on Pinterest and I want you to give me that same picture tomorrow. And I'm like, this is the platinum blonde and you are jet black. So unless you want to have no hair tomorrow, there's no way I can do that for you in one day. And that's been a challenge in itself, is just trying to give people what they want as quickly as they want it in a budget that they can afford without going, listen, there's a guy that specializes in transitioning people to gray hair, and he is amazing at it. His starting price is $5,000. And people will fly from all over the world to get their hair done with this gentleman. And he's amazing. And I have clients come to me and they bring me his pictures and they're like, can you do this? I was like, yeah, I could do that. Sorry, for $5,000. And I'm like, and you don't want to pay $5,000, and I don't want to be behind my chair for 12 hours. I doing one person, even for $5,000, because it's such an intricate process that you have to work at it to get better. And then if that's going to be your niche, by all means, let that be your niche. That's not my niche. So I always, when my clients want to go from that, where they want to transition to gray, I don't talk them out of it, but I'm like, listen, please don't think that I'm going to do the work in one 3-hour session that this man does in one 10-hour session. And I'm charging you $300 and he's charging five, or well, for 10 hours, I'm pretty sure it's 12 grand. We're not the same. And so you really have to bring people back to reality a little bit. There was a picture going around years ago when pastels and vivids were popular. Mm-hmm. And she's got beautiful long hair and it's blonde and she's got a messy bun. And when you go on a website and you're going to buy a bathing suit and it's like you can click on the different colors and the color changes on the bathing suit. They had done that with hair. And so it was like a pastel purple, a pastel pink, a pastel blue. And people would send that picture to us as hairstylists and be like, I want this color. And I'm like, that's not even a real color. Your hair has to be sheet white to look like that. And even then, one wash and it'll go away. That's not a real color. And so again, it's just managing expectations. And that's been a challenge. I think if I've had a challenge, it's that people coming in here going, I want this. And I'm like, well, I can put a picture on your forehead and then you'll have that. But other than that, I ain't doing it. Right. Not going to happen.
That's interesting. That's a really good point, because as a business owner, we all have our challenges. And in your case specifically, they come in with such an unrealistic expectation and then you have to meet them in the middle, right?
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, it's funny. I had a networking lunch yesterday and there was a new gentleman there and he was asking about a certain haircut for his wife. And I'm like, well, does your wife have a lot of hair? Because that's a haircut more for somebody with really thick hair. He's like, oh, no, she doesn't. She's got this and that. And basically he was asking about a haircut where you essentially shave the back of the head. And I was like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that to her. She'd have 2 hairs left on her head. And so, but they come at you thinking that they know what they're talking about. And you're like, that's not the name of that style at all. And that's not something I would recommend for her at all. And so I have people coming in with curly hair and they show me a haircut on a stick straight model. And I'm like, your hair will never do that. You can blow dry it. It'll do that for 5 minutes. And then the humidity will get you. It's not going to stay. So that's definitely been a challenge. There's been others, but that one's probably the number one. It's just people coming in thinking, oh, I saw it on the internet. And I'm like, well, that's cute. What are we doing on you?
So as a business owner, so you say you're finishing your course for extensions. What is your plan? Because it sounds like you're always thinking of something to continue to provide different services to your clients. So
100%.
What was your vision when you were thinking, I want to do extensions?
So I actually signed up for a different extension class, literally February of 2020. And then that whole thing happened. And so this is my struggle, which is an even bigger struggle for me, is a lot of these classes, when you are doing something like to this level of precision and what's the word? Just, it's very demanding. And I have to do all these online videos. So I'm watching somebody apply and prepare the hair and all the things for these extensions. And then I have to do it myself. And I got a little ADHD going on. And so for me to sit there for they're little 5, 10, 15-minute videos, but I'm just sitting there watching somebody just section hair. And I'm like, why can't I be in person for this? I don't want to be online for this. But what made me do this again and follow through with it this time is I've got to keep adding to my repertoire. I've kind of capped myself financially with the services that I offer. And short of going back out there and bringing in new clients, which I'm always accepting new clients, but I'm at a point where I have enough work that I don't have enough time to go out and network unless I take away from work to do it. And then I'm shooting myself in the foot because I have the work, but I want more work, but it's only me. So I either don't work to bring in more work or I work and I skip on bringing in more work. So I'm in this limbo situation. So bringing in a new service and one that's very lucrative was kind of the only option that I saw without really running myself more ragged with networking and putting myself out there, which I still need to do. I just have to plan it better. Because then I have to promote the fact that I have a new service. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it's a constant. There's a lot of moving parts in any business, and being a hairstylist is no different. The days of walk-ins, for example, by the time I got my license and started working more full time, walk-ins were a thing of the past. You might have a person come in to a salon, but now it's all Yelp and social media and Google reviews and all this stuff. And especially me, I work from home. There's nobody walking where I'm at. I'm on a secluded area of Murrieta. People that walk by here are walking on their lunch break. They're not looking to get their hair done. So it's definitely a lot of moving parts that you just got to or juggle.
And
But
so, if people want to find you, Laura, where can they? Do you have a website? Do you have a social media handle? How would they be able to reach out
so,
to you?
so I'm all on social media. I don't have a website. Again, one of those things that I know my strength and my weaknesses. And my weakness is having to maintain a website. The other day I was trying to do, with these extensions. So I had to take a picture and a video and send it in for them to review. And I had to compress the video. So I had to download an app and they tell you what to do and which app and all the things. And it wasn't compressing enough to load on the website. So then they have an option where you can record it on their website. And I ended up taking a picture and sending a picture. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so old right now. Why does this technology have to be like this? So I've never maintained a website because it's just not, even though I know I can pay someone to do it, that's just money out of my pocket, which is
Exactly.
essentially,
It doesn't sound like it's something that is stopping you from being successful either.
no, it's really not. So I do have a social media. I'm mainly on Instagram and TikTok. I have a Facebook, but my Facebook is more for my friends and family. I don't really use that for marketing very much anymore, although my Instagram does share onto my Facebook. So I would say Instagram is the best way to reach me. My handle is Hair Slayer Murrieta, and that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but hair. And Murrieta is Murrieta. So I'm sorry.
I'll add it to the notes, make sure that people have access to it.
Oh, thank you. So that, and then on TikTok, it's the same thing. My TikTok, I'm just now getting more active on there. There's definitely a lot of juicy gossip about my life. So by all means, check that out, follow and all that. Um, I'm an open book. I've always been a what you see is what you get type of person. And it's something that has added to the charm and how I interact with my clients, who again, most of the time become close friends of mine. But I've always, it's therapeutic for me to share stuff and it's not always flattering, but I try to put myself out there because I know that it's going to help at least one person. And it has, I get text messages all the time from people. And so that is what allows me the freedom to continue sharing, because of the 100 people that see it, 99 might be like, this crazy. But the one person that's like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Oh my God, you're saying what I feel. And it's not even those numbers. I think I have one or two that are like, this crazy.
Usually all the way around, but I hear you. And
Yeah.
depends on what business you're in, is how it works and what, but like you said, doing your
If I
hair,
was a therapist, I couldn't be doing
yeah,
that.
but like you said, doing hair, you're doing, or if you're
Yeah.
doing nails, if you're doing a massage, it is a very intimate relationship. So it kind of
Mhm.
allows you to also be more open. And I
Yeah.
do believe that when you are communicating or talking to people, the best way to establish a stronger, deeper relationship is by becoming a little bit more vulnerable and sharing a little bit more about you, because
Oh
that
yeah.
shows your vulnerability and people
Makes you
immediately
human.
connect with you and able to engage, and that strengthens that relationship that you're building with the client that can last many years, right? So
Yeah.
for this specific venue is very important, I think. Again, every business is different. If you're selling product, the relationship you're going to build with your clients is very different. But if you're in
Mhm.
service, you have different barriers because, like you said, you is only you and there's only so many hours in the day. It's not like you can actually hire people to package more product for you. It's just you
Right.
doing all the work, and how do you balance it all out and finding what it sounds like you have found what works well for you, that you work independently, you work for yourself. You could have hired a bunch of people to come and work in your space, but you're happy just being you in your space and not having to deal with that.
I tell you, right before I came home, I had upgraded my shop, if you will, to a larger suite, and I had two stations on there, and I rented one to a friend of mine. and it did not work out for me. I am a very all over the place scatterbrained individual. However, when it comes to my work, everything has its place. I'm very organized because that allows me to perform better. And I remember coming to my shop. Granted, I don't remember if I was working that day or not, but I was coming into my shop to do something. And this person that I was sharing the space with, renting it out to her a couple of days a week, it's like her cabinet had thrown up. And I was like, oh my God, what? It's like the teenagers were having a party when the parents were away. And that just was to me such a disrespect of my space, that not only is your area messy, but you've come over onto my area, and I'm not okay with that. And so when I decided to come here, that was a big deciding factor too. That I was like, I don't want to share with anybody. I just want to be me. And like I said, for me, my motivators are my kids. I need to provide for my kids. And I've very grateful that I've been able to do that, doing something that I truly love and enjoy, but also that I'm able to do it my way. I have hairstylist friends that have websites and travel for business and all these things and are in education, which I would eventually like to be in education as well. I'm not there yet, but they have completely taken this platform and just grown with it on many levels and outgrown me, certainly. And that's great for them, but that's not where I'm at. I just want to be able to provide for my kids, put a little money away for when I can't work anymore, and be able to do the things that we want to do without struggling, which
Right. So
we're
it
figuring this out.
sounds like I'm going to be very honest. From the outside, it sounds freaking amazing because you own your life. This is the
Oh,
dream for many people. If you think about it,
mhm.
how many people have to go to work 9 to 5 every day? And if they want to take a day off or whatever, they need to ask permission from the supervisor. If they want to go on vacation for 3 days, they need to get permission. And sometimes you get denied or they get angry that you're actually taking a Monday off to go away skiing with your friends. And you're thinking, but I asked you a month ago. Why? I mean, so I don't know if you realize this is, I think you are living a lot of people's dream.
I really am. I financially, I'm not always where I would like to be, but independently and freedom wise, I have all the freedom in the world and I always manage to make it work. And that's something that I have a beautiful village of people in my community that I have built. And people laugh because I'll be like, hey, I need my kid picked up from school. Who can do that? And it's not like it's a stranger doing it. It's literally someone that knows me, knows my kids. My girls always, when they were little, especially, but didn't care, but now as they're older, they do. But we'd go to the grocery store and I'd be at the grocery store for an hour because I'd run into somebody and they'd want to talk. And my kids are like, Mom, are you going to run into someone and talk for an hour? And I was like, I don't know who's in there. So I have I really do have a beautiful life and I'm very grateful for it because I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't like to work weekends, but if I need to work weekends, I do. But then I can also take a random Tuesday off and not
Right.
work. Like I'm off today. I have another friend coming in a little bit. And then I might have a client this afternoon. I might not. My daughter drives, so she'll bring her and her sister home from school. So I have a lot of freedom in that way. So I sacrifice making more money, but having the freedom to do what I want when I want. And I said that's where this extension comes in because I'm like, if I can just increase my revenue by 50%, I'm solid. Hopefully it'll be more than that. But even if it goes up by 50%, girl, I will be coming to see you too. So just I cannot wait to get back into my traveling world. I haven't really traveled anywhere for the last year and a half. I've had a lot of things in my personal life that impeded that part of my life, but it's I'm back and I'm ready for it, baby. Let me tell you.
Well, it sounds like you have cracked the code of what a lot of people dream to be able to do, be able to be independent enough to be able to provide for their family and yet live a fairly stress-free life, although we know that no business is ever
Oh, for sure.
stress-free. But it sounds like you have been able to manage the stress to a level that is very doable by
Yeah,
making very thoughtful decisions. You chose not to have someone in your space because you're protecting your peace. And so
for
it sounds like you have it all put together. And so I want to end this by saying to the people who are out there, we don't realize how people that are just here every day doing their own thing can really help us see life in a very different point of view. And I think that this episode is going to be able to show a lot of people that we don't have to think so much before we make the first leap into a new adventure. And you sort of have to trust that by you doing the first step, the second one will unfold and the third one will unfold. And then it's up
Yeah.
to you based on what your expectations on what your priorities are and where you want to focus, where you want to take it. Some of your friends, like you said, have decided to take it and they have taken it 10x, right? Because that is what
Right.
their heart's desire is. But yours
Mhm.
is more about, I want to be present. I want to be for my kids. I want to be a great mom. And so you have been able to make it work for you. And that is something extremely impressive and very commendable. And if anyone out there is listening to this podcast, make sure to follow her because these are the nuggets in life that really help us live a simpler life, which is really what we're all looking for, right?
That's honestly, I thank you for saying that. I do want to clarify, I by no means have myself together at all.
Oh no,
Let's not put that out there.
but you get my point, but you're able to focus
Because
on your
my
life.
friends are gonna see this and they're like, she does not have it together at all.
Well, let's make this very clear. If you are fighting every day to make $1, do you have time to work on yourself to grow as a person? Probably
Say
not.
that again, I'm sorry.
If you're working every day for that dollar and you're working
Oh,
nonstop around the clock, when do you have the time off to think about, oh,
right.
today I'm going to have time to be good to someone else or be kind to my friend? Or I know that I'm really not very successful at, I don't know, talking to, but you have the time to work on yourself. Now, if you're choosing not to work on yourself is very different, but you have the flexibility and the time allotted to do a lot of things. And that's what I'm
Yeah,
referring to. If you don't have your life together, well, girl, and you and I, we can have a different conversation. But if anything, it's great that you have the free time to not have
yeah.
it together because
And
people
like
don't
I
even
said,
have the time off to even be able to allow themselves to be scattered because it
and that's
stresses them
the
out so
beauty.
much.
That's the beauty of this industry and this profession and my personal experience with this job and career is that I can work 3 or 4 days a week and make the same amount of money, if not more, than somebody who's working 100 hours and work only 30 hours a week in those 3 to 4 days, right? 20 to 30 hours, and make the same, if not more, as someone who's getting up at 5 in the morning, not getting home till 6 o'clock at night, having to make dinner, having to do laundry. I am so, so grateful and I'm so, so fortunate that I have been able to create this life for myself and my girls. Would it have been easier with a partner? 100%. Would it be easier if a partner comes in the future and we can split all the things? 100%. But I've been able to do it on my own, not taking away from the village that has helped me when I needed it, but the success of my career has been on me. And that's something that no one can ever take away. And if I can give anybody any encouraging advice is just do it. And I have a tattoo actually that I'll share with you that says follow your heart on there. And it's a pair of scissors. And this is not just for my career, but it's in my personal life as well. And that's why when I said earlier, I'm not motivated by money, but I'm motivated by my heart. I'm motivated by my spirit and I'm motivated by the things that make me happy. And yes, I do need money for that, but there's also other things in life that money cannot buy. And like you said, the freedom, the peace of mind, the just enjoying life that comes from within. So money
Well,
can't
great.
buy that.
Thank you so much, Laura, again. And definitely, I don't know where I'm going to be in LA again in the Murrieta area, but I'll definitely like to stop by and get my hair done just to get a piece of therapy from you. I think it'll be worth it.
There you go. I love it. And I would love to come back in 6 months and tell you how the extensions things have been going on.
Yes, we
So
definitely should do
a
a
little
follow-up
follow
for
up.
that. And we can do the update,
Where
the
is she
social media.
now?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we should do a whole video on social media. But anyways,
Maybe I'm like, that did not work out. That was a terrible investment. Don't do it.
so I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we should definitely do that. But anyhow, for all the audience that is out there, make sure to check out her stuff. If you're in the area, check her out. If you have any friends that live in the area, make sure you forward this podcast to them so they can listen to it and maybe they can actually go visit Laura. She has a great spirit, clearly, as it comes through this podcast interview. And again, for all of my listeners out there, stay balanced, stay focused, and let's continue to move forward. Thank you and have a great day, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me for today's episode of the Book of Balance podcast. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and found value in the insights we shared. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss a future episode. And as promised during the show, you'll also find a link in the description with today's guest information, website links, and all the mentions we talked about during the episode. And if you're a do-it-yourself entrepreneur, you can join the Clarity Compass method at claritycompassllc.com. It's a monthly subscription where business owners like you dedicate just 1 hour each week to work in their books, get their questions answered, and stay consistent with their support of a community committed to financial clarity. Now, if you'd like to connect with me personally, head on to my website, oleggy.com, to schedule your complimentary 15-minute consultation. It's the perfect way to get your personalized bookkeeping questions answered and explore how the white glove services can support your business. And on the last note, remember, we are not lawyers or financial advisors. Everything shared here reflects our professional opinions and is provided solely for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only. So thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep your compass set on clarity.